I overcame. How many overcomers? I overcame. I overcame.
Of the basis of what God had said. And you have those that evolved out of greed and separation, segregation, etc. But always started out like this. All the ones that were set up in God's guidance, God sent an angel to be in charge of them. I'll show that to you in the Bible. And of course, all the ones set up on the basis of satanic manipulation, demons were also sent over them to be in charge of them. Now, before I go into explain that to you, let me touch on something quite interesting. One of the films we showed the other day seemed to give the impression of something some people ask about. In that program, the rapture took place, and they said all the children were gone. So they have this, well, it leaves the impression that when the rapture of the church takes place, every child, everywhere, will just go to Jesus. But that's not what the Bible teaches. What the Bible teaches is very different. The Bible teaches that it's the children of Christians that are sanctified unto God. Let me read quickly to you. I'm not going to go into the details of that so I don't over digress, but I'll just give you a little bit of stuff here. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, I'm going to read from verse 13 into 14. And the woman which had an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. He says, if a woman is married to someone who is not a believer, someone who's not a Christian, if he is pleased to continue to dwell with her, now that she is a Christian, she should not leave him. Go on. For the unbelieving, here's the point. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. Meaning that because of the believing husband or the believing wife in such a situation, the other spouse is brought into a place of sanctification. Now, not the sanctification of the spirit, but of the body. Why? Because when two people are married, they become one flesh, not one spirit. You have to be joined to the Lord to be one spirit. So if you're not joined to the Lord, you're not one spirit with him. But it's talking about the body. And so from the body, they produce this child. Now, God is laying claims to the child because of the Christian, the believing husband or the believing wife. So he says, so such children, say, but now are they holy? So God lays claims to such children. So it's the children of Christians that go in the rapture. That is important. Now, back in Israel, just so you understand, because sometimes when you say some things like this, some people don't understand. That's why I told you when you study the scriptures, there are certain considerations you must have. For example, based on what I just told you, Jesus said, let the children come to me and don't stop them, for such is the kingdom of heaven, teaching about humility. Then also, he said something about the angels of these children beholding the face of my Father. Now, you may run off with that and think that that means every child in the world's got an angel. No, not every child in the world. It was Israel. Why? I'll show it to you in the Bible in a second. So, in connection with what I started out, let me now take you to that explanation. Deuteronomy chapter 32, I'm going to read from verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High, now listen very carefully, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Now, when you read it from here, it becomes a little bit confusing because, and some people run off with the idea that he says here that he divided the nations according to the number of the children of Israel. But that's not what he's saying. Okay, there's a misleading part of this text. This is from the Masoretic text. So if you study it from the Masoretic text, it'll give you this idea.